Hi everybody, how are you all doing today? This is BA Bad One, and today I have a video for you about Aviére, but also Italian DDs in general. The build I am using is a reload focused one, since Italian destroyers have a big reload time for their main battery guns, in order to balance their SAP shells. These ships also have a big concealment radius and small range radius. Their torpedoes have average damage and range. On the other hand, they have rolling smoke and an incredible strong but short speed boost, which will be very helpful. Since Italy will be the second nation to have all types of destroyer commanders, you can really use them in every way you like. Luigi Rizzo can be used as a DPMer or a hunter, Giuseppe Fulgosi as a hunter too or a long-range fire starter, and the new commander Carlo Bergamini can be the torpedoer, set for range or closer launches, aka YOLOing. Since I became a fan of gunboating, that is the configuration I have. I could also use Fulgosi to be a fire starter, but since these destroyers have a long reload, fire starting is not that effective, and so I have him set for hunting, which I also use in BBs, for a high duration rolling smoke and shorter firing in smoke penalty. The idea of this alternative build is to get enemies detected with the target acquisition systems mod, after you use the smoke to head there, using perceptive and finish them, while not being detected back. This same strategy could also be used when having Carlo Bergamini at the help to YOLO enemies before getting detected. Like I said, with 3 commanders you can do pretty much anything, and that is why every nation should have all 3. As for the SAP shells, remember they are best used in low armored areas, and have very small ricochet angles, so unless you are having full penetrations, you should switch to HE shells. HE shells could also be used to try to lie some fires on battleships before or after you get some floods, in order to get some damage over time going. You can see in this example, how to deal with enemy DDs in Italian destroyers. You basically try to get their broadside and SAP them away. This Asashio was very helpful to be in this position because he was launching torpedoes. You can use U-smoke to avoid detection, while a friendly ship keeps them spotted. Teamwork goes a long way in this game, so make sure to help each other when you can, and you will see your win rate getting better. Remember that domination and epic enter games are mostly won on points, so having the upper amount of capture points, in order to have a superior point income, can help you win the battle. After that, one should focus on defending them, since the enemies will be forced to push. Pushing enemies are easier to torp and HE spam too, making capture points easier to defend than to attack. When playing gunboat destroyers I never put effort into concealment, since the idea is to use your guns, using islands as ways to drop spot and go dark. In the case of the Italian destroyers you can use the rolling smoke and the speed boost as ways to compensate for the lack of concealment as well, and use it both offensively, like I showed you, or defensively, as a means to get away from your enemies. The only exception is for the hunter builds, where one needs to have some concealment, to get closer to enemy destroyers without being spotted. Of course, these also require sims, to improve survivability, while you cannot avoid being outspotted. And remember that your guns won't be as good, so the enemies you are hunting with perceptive or twist and track, will have time to fight you back. 3.5 minutes in, and we have ship count superiority. There is only one enemy destroyer left, and I hope I can find her on my way to take the base the enemies have captured. Keep in mind that after the enemy destroyers are gone, your bad concealment is more than enough to keep you from being spotted again. After getting 2 floods on this California, it is a great chance to shoot her with HE shells, in order to try to get some permanent fires going. That is one of the exceptions in Italian destroyers, here you should use them. Damage over time is very effective to wither down battleships. By the time that fire is put out, the torpedoes will be ready to go again. The other exception to use HE shells, in Italian destroyers, is when your enemies are angling enough or bow tanking, making you have ricochets with the SAP shells. This Belfast over here is our main obstacle, as a fast HE firing cruiser with radar can end your game rather quickly. As expected, the remaining enemy destroyer is detected near the capture point. However, there is not much I can do while that Belfast is still around. The Soviet destroyers are usually also gunboat focused in some way, so I must use the tools I have to take her down, without risking myself too much. Since I cannot go to the capture point, because of Belfast, I will be trying to handle the enemies that I can, while staying undetected. Remember that while you can be undetected, you have the element of surprise to take down an enemy, and should preserve your health, being one of the most fragile ships. Concealed gunboats can still make good use of the torpedoes they have whenever they have the chance to do so. And getting some shots out, just before going behind an island is also a great tactic, as you can sometimes get a lucky fury going, or plainly doing some extra damage. As I did the next shot, over the island and got detected, I knew an enemy had to have line of sight over me, so to give me time to analyze the situation, I poked the smoke. Turns out Belfast just came out of the smoke at the time I shot, so I was hoping she would not have her radar ready to go. Seems I was lucky enough that she didn't, as well as hitting one of the torps meant for Leander on some other enemy. When expecting incoming fire, one of the best ways to dodge it is to put into reverse and turn to the other side. It's usually better to do so when you are moving away in a diagonal course to your enemies, as to lure them into shooting ahead of you. As you can see, SAP shells work really well on cruisers too, as long as you hit low armored areas. In case of an emergency, the best you can do is to use U-torpedoes, that are your best resource to take down battleships. Remember however that, if you have to YOLO on battleships, these are not the strongest torpedoes and may not be enough to take down a full health BB. We already have 3 ships lead and we are surround the remaining cruisers, taking them down one at a time. By the way, I hope you are enjoying this video, and I urge you give it a thumbs up if you do, and also, to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, activating the bell, so you won't miss any new videos. Minsk gets spotted nearby, and while he is behind the island, I head in her direction, while trying row help to take down Belfast. That ship really stood her water during this match and was quite the nuisance. Since she still managed to get me radared for a while, the element of surprise is gone and Minsk is now aware of my position. So here goes a last shot on Belfast, and then around the island I go just to give it a little bit of time to see if Minsk forgets about me, and I get the element of surprise back. A lot of our teammates went down in the meantime and our ship advantage is now a little slimmer. We still have it, however, and if necessary one must be prepared to win smarter and not harder. If you can have a teammate to fight with you, it is obviously better than fighting alone, so do try to get a better situation, whenever you can. As soon as I come around the island, I am spotted, so it's go time to finish of Minsk. Usually, Soviet destroyers don't have a very good concealment too, but they do have better range. Our advantage, besides the teammate helping us, is that the SAP shells can do more damage than their HE-1s. You cannot give them too much broadside however, or you will take her AP shells, and those hurt quite a lot. If things get too hot on your side, remember you have the smoke as a trump card and take the opportunity to shoot some torpedoes whenever you have the opportunity. Just remember that in a gunfight, the guns hit first and the torps do. On some occasions you can actually be a little lucky with the torps and hit your enemy with them. Remember that as gunboat destroyer, most of the game influence fall on you, as the most influential class ship, that can counter the enemies, capture the bases and spot for your teammates, meaning that if you do your jobs well, you could be on the top of the leaderboard frequently. When necessary, serving as bait is a good tactic too, as you can make other ships turn their broadside to your teammates, like in this case, making it easier to take enemies off the board. Don't forget to pray to Jesus that your teammates do their parts. Otherwise, you will be in a tough place and will have to do your best to get out. Luckily, having shorter duration consumables means you will also have more of them. Anyway, we barely make it out alive of this battle, but we do. It's not like we are going to take the remaining health to the next battle or pay less service costs just because we survive, right? I mean, in a shooting game it is expected that we get shot, otherwise we would play a different game. You will see that we came top of the leaderboard with a nice base XP amount. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Leave any questions, feedback and comments in the area below, that I will answer them all. Thank you for watching, good games and goodbye.
Our team depends upon you.
Much obliged, Commander.
That's how it's done. Nice work. Good game, everyone.
Bye, have a great time.